Man, I believe the average real man does not need to go get therapy for the battles and the burdens he's carried inside. What he needs is for those that he's carrying them for to recognize that they're there and to respect it and to be grateful for it. They don't need to talk it out to get rid of it. They need the one that they're going through this hell for to recognize it's there and to be grateful that the man is carrying this for them. They don't need therapy. They need gratitude. Average man.
All right, welcome back to Social Distillation, the submarine still of the internet, where we attempt to drop the beat and pour white lightning straight out of your brain. What are we talking about today, Samu?
Well, that was a good cold open because we got several topics that all go into that. And hopefully this is helpful for people. We're going to talk about mate value and how you need to act if you have high mate value, which is, I mean, it's an important thing because people take it for, we call it, we throw the word narcissist around, but sometimes it's just that you get all the attention and you don't know how to deal with it and you don't know how to make people comfortable. So we're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about the female you want me just for my body. We're going to talk about Alice Cooper, who's Call Your Daddy, is her and I have some thoughts on her. But you had some thoughts as well, so I'll riff off that. And then Own Nothing and Like It. That is all of those fit with that opening quote.
Well, let's start at the with the last one there because I think it is most applicable to what he was talking about. Because when I can't remember that guy's name, but it's that was a
I'll
clip
get it here.
from Modern Wisdom. It keeps popping up as recommended, and I just haven't had time to listen to the whole episode. I believe he was featured on the history.
He's considered the real life cowboy, is what he is.
I believe he was one of the guys featured
Yeah.
on the History Channel show Mountain Men.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I think he's got a big ranch out in Wyoming that he
I
is
thought it was Montana, but you might be
okay.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somewhere up there in the Rockies. It's rough, difficult living, and he is like an old fashioned cowboy, in so many ways. Uh,
Well, and as someone who, when he was 15 years old, saddle broke mules,
yep.
that it is much appreciated because I was the smallest guy on the ranch, so I got to be first, and that's the worst. First is the worst when you're saddle breaking an animal. So,
Yes, well, especially a mule. Jeez. Um,
but
uh,
mules are wonderful animals. They,
what
it's
what
unfortunate they can't actually breed.
what he's talking about there is there's this paradox that we've talked about, that the danger sign for a man who's on the edge and might need an intervention is if he starts saying and acting like he feels like he's a burden.
Hmm.
That is a big freaking
Yeah.
red flag. And I kind of had a mini argument with my wife last night because we happen this fits perfectly with what we were talking about. Because we're watching this show, and it's not a very good show, but it has this interesting component, which is this couple. They were both high level athletes, and then he gets sick. Like he gets diagnosed with basically MS. He doesn't want to be a burden
What
to
is he the
her.
punter for the Saints?
No, this is a drama. This isn't.
Oh,
This is a
okay. No,
reality.
no, because the what was this name? Start with an H. But no, the punter for the Saints,
Huh.
the kicker for the Saints got ALS, and it was like 2 years, and they documented the whole thing of
I
him
had
going
completely
down.
forgotten
Yeah,
about that. I wonder if that was any inspiration for this because the male
yeah.
character is a rugby player, former rugby player,
Hmm.
and she's a high level Olympic level shooter.
Yeah.
And when he got
ALS is probably the freaking disease that we need to like get on top of because
it's
you
nasty.
you
Yeah.
get it like that and you're gone like that.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It's very degenerative very quickly. And anyway, when he found out she was getting ready for the Olympic trials, so he didn't tell her. And so when she finds out years later, she's pissed off. Why didn't you tell me? But also because from her perspective, I'm a terrible person because I spent all these years cursing you, thinking you were just a jerk, and you're literally dying.
Hmm.
And I had, why didn't you tell me what was going on? And it's because and what I loved is a few scenes later, she's talking to this older woman who's like a mentor to the both of them. She's the principal of the school they went to. And she uses the word, and I was like, ah, see, I told you, because I had just been arguing with my wife about that. Is the older woman tells him, the older, wiser woman tells him he didn't want to be a burden. He
Hmm.
didn't want to get in your way. He didn't want to be the stumbling block that kept you from achieving what you were trying to achieve. So he bottled it all in and he carried it himself. But of course, that's a problem because that led to the big scandal, the big problem that he's dealing with as a character is in order to keep playing, he had to use banned substances
Hmm.
because it's a degenerative muscular disease. So then he gets in trouble. Everyone thinks he's this awful person and nobody knows why. And he's just bottled it up and carrying it all himself. So, yeah, on the one hand, he didn't want to be a burden. On the other hand, he needed to carry this burden. On the other hand, he shouldn't have been trying to carry it all by himself. But on the other hand, like this guy was saying, he needs you, the people he cares about the most, the people he's doing this for, to recognize why he's doing it.
Yeah.
And this is round and round we go as we always do, and how we get to you will own nothing and like it. I had this thought when the
I
couple
don't know.
weeks
Can
ago.
can I interject before you
Go
go
ahead.
into that big thought? Because this is something that I've actually had to deal with in my life. And, for those who followed the channel, and my mom who watches, uh, I have congenital heart disease, right? And you don't know it by looking at me because I'm very fit. I'm relatively healthy most of the time, but sometimes it does come and bite me. I mean, the reason I closed my gym before was because I took 3 days off for a heart surgery. 3 days, and the thing fell apart in those 3 days. And, but when I bring it up, because it's giving me a problem and I needed a second, people look at me and like, you're just being dramatic. Like, yeah, the book cover, the whole story of don't judge a book by the cover, right? This is the one of the two organs in your body that you absolutely need. Well, no, maybe three. The liver is fucking fantastic. Liver is great, but your
That was a
brain
lot
and
of
your
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, your brain and your heart. Those two things, they go, you're gone. And I took 3 days off, and people treated me like I was being dramatic.
Yeah. You had significant heart surgery, which
Yeah,
the heart,
yeah,
the
open
engine that makes
open you
things
up
go.
heart surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was. And so this is something I actually understand, and I understand where he's coming from because I only took 3 days off
Mhm.
because I didn't want to be a burden. I wanted to be part of the action. I wanted to be progressing the thing that was being built. And so I just wanted to interject that in so people get a little depth to this. And but if I do have a moment, I actually passed out in front of a client probably 6 months ago, and that was the first time she had heard about it. And I was like, yeah, it's there, and I'm sorry that that happened. That AED on the wall, that's for me. That's not for you guys, you know. And uh, yeah, there is a stigma that goes with it, and I took my woke class for my graduate degree that I'm almost finished with was ageism. We need ableism
Mm.
because there are so many things that happen under the surface that nobody is talking about. And we don't talk about them because we don't want to burden people with our problems. And I don't want to be a burden on people. It just, I wake up every morning, sometimes feeling good, sometimes feeling like I got to just get through the day. But I still show up for my job every day and do the same job. And sometimes I do have great clients. Sometimes people notice. And just what is Tom McDonald's song Castles? Great song. Put your phone away and just ask, you know? It's a good message. I just want to interject that in there, and I hope somebody that might be feeling that way find a friend, find a family member that you can come to and just say, "Hey, if I'm being pathetic, just listen to me." Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with your thought. Did I really
Because
derail you? I'm
no,
sorry.
no, but because as we've said before, men are doers. We like getting stuff done. We like checking the boxes. We like that feeling of accomplishment. This actually came up in class a few weeks ago, and the attendance question for the day was, can money buy happiness? And I said something that I think was
Up to
lost on most of the class.
75,000. That's the research.
Well,
You should have told me that ahead of time. I would have had it queued
my
up.
my point was much like, and I was riffing on what we've said before, which was for mate value, which we're going to get into for women. It's not the income of the man per se. It's that income is a marker for accomplishment and capability.
Well, but it's also a marker for I can take care of you when you're in that moment of need. Because there
But
is the genetic, the evolutionary design of that is that you're going to be vulnerable if we have children.
so it's not
Yeah.
that. It's not per se that the husband, potential boyfriend, whatever is well off. It is because he is well off, dot, dot, dot. Just like it's not the money that makes you happy. Money is a marker for accomplishment.
Yeah,
If
and
if
and I'll even go into this because I think we had a commenter on our hypergamy episode that was like, "Oh, they're just after the money or whatever."
they want
No,
the
we
dopamine hit, is what he said.
yeah, the
Yeah.
dopamine hit. Yeah, we actually have a term for trust fund babies. We call them fuck boys because that's what they are. They're spoiled little brats that had money from the beginning, and they go out there, with their uh, fancy clothes and everything, but they have no substance to them. They're only good for the buying you the drink and the fuck. We call them fuck boys. But if you want an actual real man, you're looking for somebody like the cowboy, or
Mhm.
you're looking for somebody
Well,
hopefully like ourselves. We're trying to be, right?
the
And
example I thought of was your high school car because because it was not a good car, but it was your car.
yeah, it was my car. I bought it for $69, which is a great price to pay.
What was it,
Originally it was
82?
a 1982 Chevette,
Yeah.
and we ripped the "sh" off, so it said "vet," and it was dark blue. We called it the shit bug. It was actually the song Chevette by what was that Christian band?
I don't even remember. I can't.
Oh,
It's been
way
too
back in
long.
the 90s. Yeah. But it is 0 to 60 sometimes. No AC, no FM, and
And No Regrets was the. I remember
and
the
No
line of the song. I
Regrets
can't
was
remember
the song. I can't
the
remember the
band.
band, but I
Yeah.
remember the song. Yeah. And it was exactly that description, and it was ours. I mean, I picked you up in it. I picked what was it, Valerie up in it, and she paid me $1 a day to pick her up for school. And it got 33 miles to the gallon. So a
Audio
dollar
Adrenaline. Okay, that was yeah.
audio adrenaline. Okay, yeah. So $1 a day to pick her up from school back in that day, that kept the actual
Mhm.
tank full. I could get an RC cola on top of it.
Whew.
And yeah, an RC cola, that'll clean your battery too. But no, but that I mean it ran for about a year. It ended up having radiator problems and stuff later, but I bought it for $69. It was an old car. I could maintain it for the most part. And then we sold it for what, $300 in scrap metal?
We tore it all apart and we
Hmm.
threw it on a trailer and we drove it to a scrap metal place out just on the outskirts of San Antonio. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that car had extreme value, even though most people wouldn't have bought it.
Mhm.
I mean,
But
obviously nobody, because it was for sale for a long time for $200. And I ended up knowing the person that was selling it. It
mhm.
was one of my good friends who we apparently looked like twins in high school, but I just said, hey, I'll buy that from you for the $200, and they said, oh no, you can have it for 60. I was like, okay,
The real value of it was that it was yours.
it was
That
mine. I
you,
loved that
the
car.
white trailer trash, were able to scrape up enough money to get it and to maintain it, and then you had something that not only was yours, but could do things for you, that you could
That
use
was the
to
first,
do
that was
things.
my first purchase as, I guess, an adult at 16 years old.
And I,
I,
I
I
had this
bought that
thought
on my own. I got, everything,
I had this thought when me and my son were being grumpy old men together at his graduation party while everyone else was, you know, being social and occasionally coming up and saying congratulations to him. And we were sitting there griping about how all modern games suck now, and how you have to go find those indie gems to find a quality game, and why. And it just kind of suddenly dawned on me that this concept of you will own nothing and like it ties perfectly with Helen Andrews' great feminization theory, because that concept only works on emasculated men, because a
Mm.
man wants to achieve something. He wants a
Well,
thing.
I'm going to use a word that, because I'm not religious and you're religious, might be controversial here. Pride. I took pride in owning that
Mm.
car. I take pride in having a beautiful woman on my side. I take pride in buying a house. There is this is why I hate the demonization of pride.
Well, see, we actually talked about this a while back. I don't even remember what the context was, but I made a distinction between, because it was like Pride Month or something. And I made a
Oh,
distinction between
undeserved pride
proud,
is the
exactly,
problem.
being
Undeserved
proud
pride.
of something, being proud of an accomplishment, versus just being prideful in existing, being prideful in something that you had nothing to do with. You
Well, you know
that is
what? But
absolutely
but
toxic.
also, I'm proud of having a wonderful mother. I didn't do anything for that. She made me.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of the fact that I have a wonderful mother. I'm proud of my sister. I love my sister. She's one of my best friends. I didn't do anything for that, but I'm proud of it. No, the word is gratitude. It was in the video earlier.
Hmm.
I am grateful for those things. And gratitude and pride there's a very narrow window between the two.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can easily slip into onto the wrong side
Hmm.
if you're not careful, and if you're more concerned about the feelies versus, the actual
Yeah,
depth.
I think I can put this in words. Hold on. This is the hardest thing in the world for humans is putting a thought into words. Celebrate the accomplishment. Don't be just proud for nothing, right? So I can be proud that I bought that car and that I maintained it. I can be proud that I dated the beautiful woman. I can be proud that I got my college degree. I could be proud of all of these things. But if there's no underneath it, there's no substance underneath it, then it's just the vice at that point. It's just celebrate me. You don't celebrate
Mhm.
me. I exist, as Rand said. I exist. If you're celebrating me because I exist, then there's no substance behind that. I have to do something to celebrate. Well, no, no,
If,
and you talk about feminization. No, no, no. We have to go down that road
okay.
because we're expendable as men.
Mm.
We are expendable as men. 50% of the men in a village can die, and the village will still live. We do celebrate women for just existing because they are necessary for the species. And so I'm taking an evolutionary route to this, and I know it sounds heartless, but there's not always heart in truth. And we women and children first. That's it. Because they're the future. We are expendable.
Well,
So we have to do something to be proud.
this gets us to the next part of this topic, which is a buzzword running around out there, much like hypergamy, which we needed to define and didn't know people would actually watch it. So
Do you
thank
want me
y'all.
to define it real quick?
But let's get into the because this is why we carry those burdens, whether consciously or unconsciously, is because we want to be worthwhile, worth something to a woman.
Hmm. I'm going to go ahead and qualify this, which, this is not a land acknowledgement. I know I know a lot of women, but I also work with a lot of athletes, so I might have a skewed data pool uh, that do the same thing, where they hide their burdens as well. So I might have a skewed data pool just because they're kind of masculine women, but it is a masculine trait. So I'm going to use that word instead of male
Mhm.
here. So yeah, but yeah, it is. It is. We hide our burdens because we don't want to burden other people with them. It is actually the reason I am divorced now because I was hiding those burdens and it became clear that she was actually still aware of them as I was doing so. And I said, you know what, this is the end. So, and when we parted ways, not to put my stuff on air, but here it is. Uh, yeah, it's a masculine trait. It's a very masculine trait.
All right, so let's let it excuse me. Let's talk about mate value and try and get away from the buzzwordiness of it.
Okay, so mate value can take many forms, right? So you use the word hypergamy. That is dating across and up. Okay, so
Mhm,
across and up. For those that are watching, I made the hand motion. Uh, it could be anything. Most times when it's talked about, it's income. So if I make 100,000 a year and I meet a girl who makes $150,000 a year, she's probably going to judge me based on that difference, right? That's the monetary version of it. And when the man makes less than the woman, a lot of times the relationship does not work out because the male role
mhm.
is resources usually. But it could be beauty. So if I'm a nine, which I'm like a five, if I'm a nine and I'm talking to a seven, I'm probably looking for a one night stand. If I'm talking to a nine and a half, I might be looking for forever, right? So, height, tall girl problems, as Williamson would say, tall girl problems is when you're taller than your partner, it causes problems. And then we got the high heel problem where we got a manufactured tall girl. So you've got all of those things. Uh,
And of course this is all contextual, subjective, based on the based on the individuals. The first thing I thought of when you said, you know, if you're a nine, and the first thing I thought of is comedian Dave Landau has a special because he went he was arrested a lot because in his youth because he was on basically every drug known to man. Um, and he's got a special called A Prison 10.
well, let's
I'm
go
a
back.
six in real life, but in prison I'm a 10.
But let's go back to your athlete example
Yeah.
because they were both pro athletes, so they were across, right? They weren't above or below, and he had a medical issue that brought him down, and so he did not want to burden her with that because of this underlying pressure of I am no longer even with her. I am no longer, and then to the point where I'm a burden to her. And when you date down, that person will be somewhat of a burden to you. But you make that decision. You make that decision. So if the man is, a five attractiveness, but he's a 10 income, and he dates a nine attractive woman, but who wants to stay home and take care of the kids, that's a trade. Everything's a trade in this world. And both of them made that decision together. And it was because of those reasons, right? And what was the thing I said to you that brought this up? Mate value and being on point,
Mm.
right? So Did you want to go there yet, or do you have another thought
No,
before we go
no,
there?
that's why we're here is to right now is to talk about mate value and what it means and uh what the term means, but then what it means in application to a relationship.
Okay, so let's just hash out the mate value. Is everything in your relationship has value, and you have your priorities when you're looking at a relationship, right? And for us guys, typically looks is really big on that, right? And for the females, typically overlapping bell curves and everything, it's income. And protection, provide and protect, right? It's the male.
Let me go ahead and put my own little caveat asterisk there, because I had this thought. I don't remember why, but yeah, men care about looks.
We do. Youth and looks. And that's
That
why Botox is a thing, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Um, however, we we care about it differently than I think women might think, which is why so much of what women do for their own kind of looks maxing, much like what the actual extreme looks maxing guys are doing, it's what they think the opposite sex wants, and really they're more doing it intrasexually. It's more for intrasex competition because that's
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to have a separate
yeah.
conversation on that. But yeah, but
There's a reason we have sayings like "love is blind." Okay,
mhm.
it's not that your
Well, they say
husband,
when
boyfriend,
it's
whatever.
new, all the red flags look like hearts.
Exactly. But it's not that, you've been together 10 years, you're older now, you don't look like you did when you first started dating. It's not that he doesn't notice that, it's that he doesn't care because all these other things overwhelm and outshine the negatives.
Well, I'm gonna say this out loud. I mean, we officially yesterday signed the paperwork for the divorce, but I never lost my attraction for her. Never once in the entire time. And, if a new girlfriend listens to this and sees that, then fuck you. It is what it is. I never lost that. It was other things that came in the way. It was
Hmm.
real life things. But let's get back on topic. Mate value. Okay, so let's stick with, just for simplicity, that the standard youth and looks versus resources for female to male. Uh, if I am well, I don't know, what would you rate me on a 10? You're going to be the judge, Heath. You get to judge me. What would you rate me out of 10?
I would say 7, but gay guys seem to think you're a 9, so we'll
Okay,
call it an
so
8.
we're talking females though, so we'll call it an 8. Okay, we'll average the two. Okay, so I'm an 8 and I'm dating a 9.5, right? When I say the words being on point is making your partner comfortable.
Mm.
And so if you have a higher mate value in a certain way than your partner, you need to go out of your way to make your partner comfortable in the fact that they could lose you.
So that's interesting because that's where I was going, and I didn't know that that's where you were going as
Yeah,
well. But
because like if I'm an 8, that means 20% of the population is better than me, right? And in the day and age of Hinge and being able to be around, millions of people, I mean, with 330 million people divided by half, 170 million people in the country that could compete with me, that means there's 20, 40, 30 million people that are better than me in that one thing. And so we all want to say words. What is it? Sexton says. He says, "Whoever invented the term soulmate has given me job security." No, we're all exposed to things all day long. So you have to do the things in the relationship to make your partner comfortable because they're with you for reasons. And those reasons are why they think other people will want to be with you. There is no, I trust you with every bit of my soul. Now that happens over time, but yeah, it's
It happens only time, but it only persists if you keep doing those things, which is what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is and this is why I wanted to talk about mate value. Much like the why I wanted to talk about hypergamy is because I think the it's easy to get hung up on the obvious things and let that black pill you.
Hmm.
Okay. Because when you talk about mate value, you brought up the two biggies that I think most people think of, which is looks and income, right? Okay. Well, that is an aspect of mate value. And really, those two things only get you the first, only get you that first contact.
Hmm.
The first day, open the door, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Which
You
if you're
have
an
to bring
incel out
something
there,
else to the table.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Take care of those things because that's first contact. So
Yeah.
you got to take care of those things. Shave, or at least trim, get a haircut, work out, take a bath every once in a while, take a shower, that kind of thing. That's the first contact. But we had this conversation with the girl I've been talking to is what were the top three things? And I said, yeah, the first thing was the way you look because I walked across a club, which I don't do, and I
Mhm.
talked to you. The second thing is you're freaking smart, and I can have a very adult conversation with you over very nuanced conversation topics, just like we do on here. I mean, me talking to her is like we're talking right now, and that makes me happy. And then the other thing was, I was like, I'm gonna admit it's the great sex. So those three things are the top three things. But also, those are things a lot of people like me would enjoy.
Mhm.
And you got to make me comfortable that I'm the only one that gets to enjoy those things.
Yeah. It
And I know your wife. I'm gonna guess. Let me guess what the top. Well, obviously, you like the way she looks, so I'm gonna say that's in the top three.
I've mentioned before that that was the first thing I noticed because
Yeah.
I saw her towards the end of the spring semester because she had come up for a visit and I said,
Hmm.
"Oh, who the heck is that?" And I didn't talk to her until she transferred up to Oklahoma State in August. That was when the first time I actually talked to her. So
Okay,
it was
so
absolutely, "Ooh, hey, who's
I'm
that?"
gonna say in the top three also is she's probably the one of the most considerate people I've ever met.
Hmm.
So that is that in the top three?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, one of the most considerate people I've ever met, and I don't know. I'm just trying to think of y'all interacting together. You just seem to have like like even when you're not holding hands or touching each other, there's like a spark going
Hmm.
between you two, and I think that those are the three things for you.
Comfort. I don't think that's a bad word. She makes me comfortable.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I have bad road rage because I hate everybody else on the road most of the time. I'm much calmer, comfortable, and feel better when I get to the destination when she's in the car with me.
Yeah, and
Is
that's
is
I
that's a
mean,
good illustration of how
I'll
comfortable she
tell the
makes me feel.
entire internet I am jealous of you guys because that is a fantastic thing. That is the thing to and but I think it's because of like we opened with that cowboy is I think she shows gratitude for you and she shows it not only to you, but she shows it in front of other people.
Mm. That's a biggie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the old if she doesn't post you on Instagram, you're not her boyfriend, right?
Hmm.
And that's a new version of it, I guess. But if she's not like holding your hand in public,
For someone who is introverted and lacking in social skills, it was very weird the first time I hung out with her group of work friends because they were all talking to me like they knew me because they had been hearing about me
that's very
for months.
comforting. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you meet their friend that you've never met and they know everything about you,
Yeah.
that is actually a very comforting thought. So to our point, if you like stuff about each other, right? So I'm in shape. Maybe she likes that I'm in shape, right? If I'm out there flexing my muscles for everybody else and then go home and put on a big baggy t-shirt. That's not a good strategy, right? To make somebody comfortable, right? Uh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the male version of that. I don't okay, flirting.
Yeah.
If we go out to the Peaks, Twin Peaks, we'll say Twin Peaks, and I'm flirting with the waitress more than I flirt with you, that's not a comforting thing. But if I flirt with you in front of the waitress, that's comforting. And yeah, I think both male and female, we can benefit from this a lot. And it's uh it's tough because men and jealousy is different than females and jealousy.
Yeah.
We
It, it
we we mate guard because of parental security, and they mate guard because of are you in love with her?
yes, it is that he wants your body, she wants your time. Is so that's what we worry about when it comes to trust is wait, is that really my body? And she's worried, hey, wait, are you am I really getting the focus, the majority of your time?
Yeah, it's are you sleeping with somebody versus are you going to leave me?
Hmm. Hmm. All right. So how does this connect to the last thing we teased, which is this ex Cooper chick who I had just accidentally found out about
Her
a
podcast is
week or
Call
two
Your
ago?
Daddy.
Yeah, and so I there's a channel I follow and sometimes watch. It's a Gundam, so he's a giant nerd, which makes me a giant nerd for watching him. And he had brought this up, and I had never heard of her before. And I was just watching this train wreck of my gosh, this is who in much the same way as I don't know if I've ranted about this. I accidentally went down a deep dark rabbit hole on the Paul brothers. I knew they were bad. I didn't know they were frankly should be locked up. Some of the things they've done on their channel are literally illegal. I don't care if it's just for content. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, there are reasons, there are strict rules governing the use of minors in media,
Mm.
and they're not following them. And what they're doing is straight up illegal, or have done is straight up illegal. So it's awful. And we have ranted about, you know, the Tatosphere and those kind of people. Um, but also in the context of Dr. K of you should be asking these boys and young men why. What is it about these? Well, who's asking the girls and young women, why the heck are you listening to this lady? What is it that she is saying that appeals to you? Is this how you want to live your life? If you apply what she's saying,
Especially since it's a
then you'll be
lie
happy.
too, because she got married in secret to a guy she had been dating a long time, and she still was posting episodes about how marriage is patriarchy and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
especially that to me is the deal breaker. It was a
Hmm.
lie the whole time.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to rant about and why I wanted to talk about mate value in the context of reality and what is for most people most of the time true and going to work and going to lead to fulfillment and happiness. Because what people like her are saying is it in much the same way that we societally rightly criticized the pickup artist when it kind of blew. I don't remember which channel, MTV or VH1, had a show with some pickup artist trying to train young men how to do what he does, and they were excoriated for putting this on the air. Of why are you teaching boys and young men to do this? This is not good for the women that they're trying to pick up artists, and it's ultimately not good for them, which we came to realize as I still find this fascinating. The incel movement was an outgrowth of that because
Mhm.
that is how destructive it was to the young men, the boys who were trying to do this. That
Because they
it was
figured
so
out they were a
antithetical.
fake persona and they couldn't live
Exactly.
up to it in a relationship. Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
antithetical to their nature that it created a dissonance that led to a break. And so why aren't we also societally criticizing the women who are now doing the same thing on the female side? Because that's essentially what they're preaching. Is it is the hookup culture pickup artist stuff from the female perspective. Why isn't that bad too? And it is. And I've got a rather lengthy, can I share?
Hold on. I don't know how to do that. They keep changing the interface. Sorry, people.
For reasons
Uh,
known only to them, because it certainly
yeah.
hasn't made things easier.
What the
Um,
hell? How do I do this?
beats me. Um, so it's rather lengthy, so I wanted to share it so you can follow along if you're watching. And
Did you try?
uh, hold on. Yep. Here we go. Okay, so
I
apparently I
think.
have to send a
I just
request.
have to allow it in real time. Here you go. Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So this popped up on my X feed a couple of days ago, and I reposted it to save it to talk about. I had not heard of this person, Florio Gina. Her
That name sounds familiar.
her bio says she's a mom and wife and author of something called Fat and Unhappy, and she has a show, some sort of podcast. She has 150,000 followers, including a lot of people I follow. So good for her. And what she had to say was interesting. And what she is responding to is this. Geez, where are you? There you are. This New York Post puff piece. Um, from May 17th. Alex Cooper pregnant, expecting first baby with husband Matt Kaplan, and they have these pictures of her showing her belly and all happy and smiley.
Oh, so I
Yep,
accidentally went the right
his face,
direction.
which
All
is
right.
funny.
Yeah.
Um, and so this Gina had some thoughts on it, which I found very interesting and very
A lot
useful.
of thoughts. That's
Yep,
a lengthy document there.
yep. The common response to this news is that Alex Cooper is somehow leading her audience down a path that she herself is not choosing. But what's happening here is actually the exact feminist dream. A woman participates in hookup culture as much as she wants when she's in her prime. She sleeps around, has casual sex, gets the ick, dumps men, gets dumped, has summer flings, gets abortions if needed. She's hot. She has pretty privilege and isn't afraid to use it. But when she feels like the time is right, she settles down with a high value man, only because it's her choice, not because she feels pressured by societal standards or a ticking biological clock. This man does not care about her past because he wouldn't dare judge a woman for expressing herself sexually. They have a beautiful wedding and her dress is stunning. She gets pregnant when she feels like she's ready to take on motherhood. She trades in her promiscuous days only when she wants to on her own terms. And the perfect man she finds is more than happy to go along with her timeline because he respects her and her desires, and he doesn't want to lose her. Alex has quite literally lived out the perfect feminist blueprint thus far. You see, the only problem is this modern feminist blueprint usually only works for exceptionally successful, gorgeous women with influence, with exception, of course, but we're talking about the rule here. Models, actresses, wealthy bachelorettes, and entrepreneurs. It doesn't quite transfer to the everyday mid who works a boring corporate job. By the time she's well into her 30s, the everyday mid with a promiscuous past generally doesn't have the same allure and magnetism as a famous rich blonde who regularly rubs shoulders with elite celebrities. The men that she wants to try and settle down with have far less interest in her and would much rather marry a woman much younger, much less seasoned, and much more fertile. This is why we are seeing such high rates of childless unmarried women. They followed the early years of the blueprint, spending their 20s and even most of their 30s dating casually, believing that they too could find a high value man when they're older and eventually sick of the dating scene. Why wouldn't they be able to? They look at famous rich celebs and influencers and think, hey, I can do that too. If they can postpone marriage and kids until they are ready, so can I. But everyday women simply aren't on the same playing field as women like Alex Cooper. Few will fully understand this. Many will try to make excuses as to why this isn't true. Brace yourself for the outliers' stories. Even if you don't see anything morally wrong with the hookup culture that Alex Cooper praises on her show, young women would be smart to understand the real world and that you have a much greater chance at locking down a high value man when you're young and a bit more austere. Sorry, I don't make the rules.
That is actually very profound.
there's a lot to unpack there, but
Yeah,
the core
I'm gonna
message.
take out of the sexual realm. I'm gonna
Okay.
do a good example here. We when you study research, which is one of my degrees, my master's degree, it was studying research, is you look at fallacies of research.
Mm.
And one of the fallacies of research is the person who. Everybody knows the person who smoked until they were 100 years old.
George Burns.
But at the same time, we also know smoking is the fast track to lung cancer,
Mm.
right? And Alice Cooper is I hate saying her name because I love the singer Alice Cooper.
Well, it's Alex, and I keep wanting to
Oh,
say
Alex.
Alice
Okay.
because
Alex.
yes,
Yeah.
feed my Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. A Poison. Poison is one of the best songs ever written.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. But Alex Cooper is the smoker who smoked till she was 100, right?
Hmm.
But when there's a bunch of people, she says, have your Marlboro Reds that died in their 50s, right? That's exactly the example that goes with that. And it's Rob Henderson's luxury beliefs too.
Mm-hmm.
Luxury beliefs are beliefs you have uh, that don't affect you, but will end up affecting everybody else who's in competition with you.
So yeah, Gita here used the term pretty privilege, and it's
Hmm.
true. This is, if you are
Pretty and
someone
tall. Those are the privileges. It's not
late
black and
30s to
white.
early
Yeah, yeah.
40s and could easily be mistaken for a 30-year-old.
Hmm.
Okay, that is not everybody. Sorry, that's like she ended with. Sorry, I don't make the rules.
Hey, you called me an eight earlier. I'm happy.
Yeah, but I actually do want to, because one of the first things that jumped out of me when I read this, of taking it back to the sexual realm, is when she makes the comment about the perfect man isn't going to dare judge her, her past. And one of the first things that popped into my head, especially in this situation, is, well, yeah, because he probably has a higher body count than she does because he's a freaking professional athlete.
Yeah, but also we don't know what's going on in his head in private.
No, we don't.
We know the public persona.
We don't. But the point being, um, you're you're narrowing down even further an already narrow field of what you want,
Hmm.
because there aren't going to be that many guys out there who don't have a problem with your past, frankly. Because a lot of guys, I would say most guys, are going to have a problem with that, in much the same way that there is going to be an underlying tension if she makes more money than he does. There's going to be an underlying tension if she has a higher body count than he does.
Trust me, I train professional athletes who have been in relationships. You spoke the truth because they have. I mean, we don't have enough fingers and toes to count their body
Mm-hmm.
count, and the partners they end up with is the same way, and it's a tension on both sides. I've played counselor in so many relationships, and yeah, they're basically arguing about, well, your past, your past, your past, your past, your past, and yeah, it's you're exactly right. It is, but this woman, excuse me, woman, let me be respectful, is preaching a message that she is not following.
Yeah.
That's the main point for me.
And
No, you do have to forgive body count because people go through phases sometimes. People, if you're 19 years old and you were abused as a child and you have trauma and go through we call it there's the little Debbie phase. You ever heard of the little Debbie phase? You probably haven't because I made it up.
I'm gonna guess.
It's not the hoe phase, it's the ho ho phase.
Okay,
It's
that's not where I
it's
thought you were going.
Yeah, it's the phase that even hoes would judge, right? It's the little Debbie phase, and a lot of people have gone through the little Debbie phase.
I don't think a
Coin
lot.
that. I'm going to put
I
that
think
in the
more
title,
now.
the little Debbie phase. I'm going to because that is going to be my saying right now. But the little Debbie phase is sometimes you just go through some trauma, man, and
Well, okay, so here's where
you're finding comfort in every person that pays attention to you.
people have complained before that we agree too much lately because of the things we've been talking about, and that's another reason I wanted to bring this up. I thought, man, I'm gonna have a good fight here. Is a couple of things. Um, you can or can try to forgive the body count. It's going to be really hard to forget it.
Oh no, no,
Okay,
no. Forgive and forget are two different things.
but okay, I'm not going to judge you as a person for what you've done in your past, but that also doesn't mean I'm going to have a relationship with you. And
That's
if I
where
try
yeah,
to,
yeah,
that's
we
going to be
probably
hard.
will disagree because I will have a relationship with you if we go back to our main point, which I have circled now,
Uh-huh.
being on point with comforting your partner. If you have a body count that you went through the little Debbie phase, and it's what's my body count? Fuck. They say divide it by three for a guy, but I'm gonna try to be completely honest. 22.
Come on, you have a pornographic memory.
I I, I have a eidetic memory. Okay,
Is that what
22.
I said? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's yeah. I'll have to count them up. I'll have to count them up, but it's about 20 to 25, somewhere in that range. That's pretty good for a guy. Uh, but if they say the times it by three with a girl. If a girl came to me and said 22, it would be 66, right? So, it's what are you doing right now to make me comfortable as your partner? If you went through a ho-ho phase, that's fine. I went through a ho-ho phase, like 10, 8. I'm trying to remember each one. 8 of those were between my first wife and my second wife, which was only 2 years. I mean, that was like I was like doing anything I could get a handle on, and but are you going to judge me by those? I don't have an STD. I got tested. I'm good. Other than that, yeah, you went through that phase. It's coming to America. It's sowing your
All right, but there's a couple of problems here, Sam. First of all, you're an outlier. You just talked about the outliers. I think you're an outlier because
I
I
am
think
for a male because I think the average is like 6 for a guy.
I
Yeah.
was trying to remember what it was, but I
Yeah.
was mostly sure it was single digits.
Mhm. It's
And
six
and
or
that
seven or something like that. I
that
can bring
that
up the research,
changes
yeah.
that changes by age group, not just because you've had more time to sleep with more people, but because of changing, values and mores and whatnot. And as we've talked about, changing ability. It's just so much easier in the last 20
Well,
years
it's the
with the
modern
internet to
dating
find
scene
people.
too. It's the
Yeah.
modern dating scene too because you go out to a club and it's one night stands, man. It's what it
I
is.
I also think the push to have every kid go to college was a big part of that because college became, 4 to 5 years to hook up and drink a lot.
Hmm.
And so I think that was a big impact on that as well.
Which is
But
which is the funny thing because my first one was my first wife. I
but
actually married my
yeah,
deflower. So, yeah.
I I also think the other flaw there, and you using yourself as an example, is body count matters more to men than women, I think.
Well, it does. It does because we make guard. I
Exactly.
used that term earlier. We make guard because we have no parental security.
Also,
Because
the
if you pop a baby out of your body, you know it's
mm,
yours.
absolutely.
If if you pop a baby out of your body, I don't know if it was my thing that went in there that did it. And so that's why we have different jealousy styles.
Also, I haven't heard anyone say this. So you have your little Debbie phase, and this is my contribution to today that, so far as I know, is unique. Is I had this thought when this subject came up a while ago, and it's been ruminating around, and I was finally able to articulate the reason guys care about body count consciously and unconsciously, and maybe mostly unconsciously, is, as we've talked about, males are hierarchical. By nature, we are hierarchical.
Hmm.
So a group of guys get together and on conscious and unconscious levels, they are immediately sizing each other up and figuring out what the pecking order is. Okay. If you have a high body count, he now has to compare himself figuratively and literally to all these other guys. And he's going to be constantly worried, do I measure up?
I
Literally and
I I
figuratively.
have gained a level there because this is 'cause go back to your who's the right brain author you've been reading?
Martha Beck.
Martha Beck. Okay. Go back to right brain thinking. You're thinking left brain right now. You're thinking everybody who's been there, where do I size up?
Mm-hmm.
Right brain thinking is how is she reacting to what I'm doing right now?
You're not wrong, but I will point out that part of Martha Beck's point is that we have become a hyper left brain society and have been
Yeah, no,
growing
but
that way for
you have to
centuries
be
and
a right
generations.
brain thinker in a left brain society though. And that's where that's the antidote to body count. Now, I will say you still have a point that if body count is high, it is a red flag. I mean, every girl that ever dates me should know that. But again, I work with athletes. I know people who have body counts in the thousands.
Yikes.
Okay, and they lie about it when they talk to a new girl. That's just the way it is because they know they have to lie about it because if the person knew about it, they wouldn't. But they also have to know.
So they know they have to lie about it is whether you agree with Sam, you agree with me. That's my main takeaway from this Alex Cooper situation is what she is, to your point, she's preaching something she's not practicing. And what she is preaching is going to narrow the potential mate pool for these women if they follow her
Hmm.
advice.
Hmm.
And to Gina's point here, the reason I read that whole thing is because someone like Alex Cooper can get away with it because she has an incredibly high mate value, but also because of that mate value and because of the circle she runs in, she can find that high value partner, that high value mate who is going to be compatible. She has access to that very narrow field that, as Gina put it, the mid in her 30s working the corporate job. You don't have access to that. And
Hmm.
and again, to her point, the guys that you're around, the other 30 somethings or 40 somethings who are working that boring corporate job, they've got all these fresh out of college people that are, just coming in that they can talk
Well,
to.
and let's add levels to it. You got two kids from previous oopsies, right?
And what does
Now,
that do? Yeah.
yeah, so that takes you from a 9 to a 7, right? It's
Lower in
yeah,
some people's estimation because
yeah,
that's a lot of
it'd be like
baggage.
that's a fun night, but not forever,
Yeah.
and so yeah, you're there's so many things God, Rob Henderson is so good. I can't wait for his new book to come out. But the luxury beliefs idea is one of the most phenomenal ideas of this decade, where it's like this is because he would talk to people. He went to Cambridge University, and he would talk to people, and he would they would have their woke values, oh, well, you can do this and that, and body count doesn't matter, and da 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 da. And he goes, well, what about you? What's your dream for your relationship? Oh, well, we're gonna get married and we're gonna be this and we're gonna be monogamous and da 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 da. And it's like, so why don't you want the same values for other people that
Mm-hmm.
you have for yourself? That's where the idea of luxury beliefs came from, is him just talking to people in college. And he was an orphan that grew up in many different foster homes and everything and ended up at Cambridge University. You know, after what I think 5, 6 years in the military, he went to the Air Force, I think. And it was like I came from being the person nobody wanted.
Foster system's rough for anyone who hasn't
The
had
foster
experience
system
with
is
it.
rough,
Yeah.
abuse, all of those things. He doesn't really talk about the abuse a lot, but I think he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And the number one predictor of abuse is not real parent. And and so he went through all of that. He ended up in the military, and that's where he said he got straightened out. He was actually the first time in his life he was parented was when he was in the military, which is like with your family. With
Mhm.
my grandfather was good. My mom tried. Your dad was the first person to like be a dad to me, and it was great. He went to the military, and like his drill sergeant was the first person to be a kind of a dad to him, and it was in the harshest way possible, realistically. And he turned his life around. He ended up he's one of the most famous people in the world now, and yeah, luxury beliefs are a real thing because people just don't get it. They say things just to sound good.
And what does that do to the people who are infected by those luxury beliefs, by, as some
Uh,
people put it, the woke mind virus? Is what does that do to those people? Because the whole reason we're ranting about this is because, I mean, just in general, we want a healthier society, but personally, we have kids,
mhm,
right? We want them to be happy. And what is happiness for the most people most of the time? Finding a partner that
mhm.
that you can be that
It's
you
all
can
we
be
want sometimes.
more than the sum of your parts together. So
Mhm.
this idea that you just go have fun, you do you figure yourself out, you okay, to
Well,
what end?
life is not a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
You brought up movies before. So, this job came up that the person has to move to Florida for, and she goes to the big city, and you're you leave your family, you leave the person you're dating and everything. In the Hallmark movie, you're there for a couple years and you realize it sucks, and you come home and the dude is still waiting for you. Your family's still waiting for you, and everything falls into place because,
Mhm.
oh, true love. That's not that's not how life works. The dude, if it's a good dude, is going to move on, and you're going to come home and see that dude with someone else.
Why? This is exactly what we a while ago when we started on this, just beating the dead horse of
Well,
relationships.
and your
Is
daughter's going to
this
be
is
traumatized. And it's all of those things.
this is
Yeah.
what Dr. So is talking about when she talks to women and girls of, hey, you don't realize that high value guy, the 666 guy, he has options and he's not looking for the same things you're looking for, which means he's going to move on.
Hmm.
He even if he's not the 666 guy, again, her big point is guys aren't looking for the same things girls are looking for. So if you move on, he's going to move on
Yeah.
because to him, that that waitress that just listens to him is much more valuable
Hmm.
than, the career woman, the high achiever, the what, I mean, those things are good.
Well,
Those are nice.
much more valuable than the person that left them.
Yeah. That I mean, that's the biggie right there.
Yeah, the person who prioritized something over the relationship. And yes,
Mhm.
sometimes you have opportunities, and everything has to be weighed out. But at the same time, you still are making a choice.
it,
And
at the same time, you are being sold a bill of goods by the
mhm,
Alex Coopers of the world in the same way that these boys and young men are being sold a bill of good by the Andrew Tates of the world. This isn't
mhm.
real life.
Yeah, I'm
This
glad you
isn't
brought
what
up
is
Andrew Tate because we
you,
have to balance it. Yeah,
you,
yeah.
these things that you are being told. One, you probably can't do them because that's just how life works. In the same way
Hmm.
that, you know, I wanted to play center field for the Chicago Cubs. I can't hit a curveball. I realized that at some point in my baseball playing career. I was a great hitter until you threw me a breaking ball. And then I had trouble.
I had a
Okay.
client that had a 95-mile-an-hour slider.
Oh geez. That's
Yeah,
dirty.
that's
That is
dirty.
that's
Yeah,
dirty.
that was
So
JC.
it's life's not fair. Okay. That was what I thought I was going to do with, that's what I wanted to do with my life for a big chunk of my childhood. Didn't work out. because I'm not the Hawk, one of my favorite players, Dawson for the Cubs. Anyway, um, I just can't do that. That's not going to be me. You can, from the guy point of view, we've talked about narrowing your focus. From the girl point of view, guys do this too when they create a checklist, and especially when it's a looks based checklist of
Hmm.
my girls, the girl for
Skinny big
me
tits
is
glasses. That's me.
well, I was going to say blonde, blue eye, tall, skinny, big boobs.
Well,
Kate
I
Upton,
don't know why
congratulations.
everybody thinks I'm into blondes.
Yeah.
I am
Well,
actually into
it's
brunettes.
a stereotype,
Yeah.
going all the way back to Marilyn Monroe, I guess. But uh
Or Marilyn Manson. I don't know.
the point being, congratulations, your list is Kate Upton. That there's one of them, and you aren't a multi-time Cy Young winner who earned hundreds of millions of dollars over a 20-year major league career. You're
Yeah.
not
I,
getting Kate
I, I
Upton.
wish he was still with us in Houston.
Yeah. So guys do the same thing just in a different way, and ultimately it leads to frustration. Much like, again, the incel movement was an outgrowth of the pickup artist movement, because you can't do that. Very few people can do that. And even if you could, for most people, you're going to feel icky afterwards.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like you did something wrong.
I actually dated a girl for like 3 days. And the second day she said, does anybody understand the words that come out of your mouth? And that was when I knew it was over. I was like, okay, I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation here, and I need the intelligent conversation, which is where the glasses come in, because usually that's a sign that they might be smart. I don't know. It's not really,
Or they
but
just have bad genes, but whatever.
yeah, they're bad genes. But ah, God.
All right. Well,
It's
let's.
a complicated arena, and we just went over a lot of stuff in it.
Mhm.
But yeah, okay. So here's the take home message. It's a complicated arena, but the Alice Coopers of the world try to make it simple. It's not simple. It can't be simple. You have to actually get out there and interact.
Well, I I'm gonna disagree again, because
Okay.
I think this is another, like a lot of the things we talk about, like physical fitness. I think mental fitness is simple, but it ain't easy. Now,
It's rolling the boulder up the hill.
once
It's Sisyphus, you know.
when you start to dig into the details of why, okay, then yeah, it can get pretty complicated. But the basics of physical fitness: don't eat crap, get some exercise. Done. Okay. Now, what does that mean? How do you maximize your results? These kinds of, yeah, that's where people like you with multiple degrees and to over a decade of experience come in. Of, okay, well, here's
Two
how you do
decades.
that. 2 decades. Gosh, we're old.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah.
um, that's where someone like you comes in. That, when we're talking about complicated relationship things, that's where someone like Dr. So, with, you know years of experience in the field and a lot of time put into analyzing these things and collecting data, that's where that comes in. But when you just want to get the ball rolling, you just roll the ball. You get out there. Okay.
This
Meet
is my
people.
chunky.
Yep.
It's Charlie.
Go walk your dog at a dog park. There are people there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Walking
this.
the dog at the dog park is the play.
So
Or do the Peyton Manning where the Saturday Night Live where he took the kid. He's like, "Oh, it's been so tough since her mom died."
forget about that. But the Tates and the Coopers of the world are trying to sell you a bill of goods, because literally they're trying to sell you. Okay, so there was, um
And they're doing a good job of it. They're making lots of money.
did we play a clip of, who was that I was watching, who I think it was that Matt Walsh, episode we played a clip of, where he was talking about, no, it was the Catholic apologist guy, Trent, Council of Trent. where he was talking about he was analogizing the manosphere and the OnlyFans girls and how they're both selling you something that's fake because they're
Mhm.
literally selling you something. They are selling you a product. And if you go watch that episode, he played a bunch of clips from this new Netflix documentary where this British journalist guy takes a deep dive into the manosphere. And one of the things he points out is how many of these people are selling a program.
Mhm.
These are late night infomercials of ye olden
It's
days.
P90X, it's insanity, it's all of the workouts, right? It's the
They are
same thing.
selling you something.
And they bring on the infomercial, the five people that survived it.
Yep.
And yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
and then you look at the five fine print of do this, but also follow this diet plan, which is a heavily restrictive diet plan, which most people aren't going to
Hmm.
follow. But yeah, if you do, you'll get single digit body fat. Good job. Or you could just do the diet program and any exercise plan, and you got single digit body fat. Good job.
Hmm.
But they don't want to tell
Well,
you that.
I'll give another example. The surgery where they clamp your stomach,
Yeah, the lap band.
the
Yeah.
lap band surgery. Yes, they 30 days before it, you go on a strict diet.
Mm-hmm.
And in those 30 days, on average, people lose 15 pounds. It's like all you needed was the diet. You didn't need the fucking lap band.
Which is an invasive surgery that has its own side effects. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and also people learn how to graze. So you end up grazing all day instead of eating a big meal and you gain all the weight back.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
no. The 30-day diet is proof of the fact that you didn't need the surgery.
Yep. But
They
you're
they
being
do it
sold
with
something.
Stu McGill, and he does it the honest way. He says they call it virtual surgery, where somebody comes in with back pain, what they call non-specific back pain, to his clinic, and he says, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the 30 days before. We're gonna put you to sleep. We're not actually gonna do the surgery, and then we're gonna do the rehab afterwards." They have the same result as people who have surgery. There you go. It was the practice, not the medical intervention.
Mm-hmm. Well, there, yeah, there you go. The practice. Get out and do.
Well, and then back to, let's wrap it back up. The practice, if you are a very high, okay, so if you're with somebody, if you are with somebody, there is something about them you love, and there is something about you that they love. Make it clear that that something about you that they love is nobody else's. That's it. That's all you have to do to have a
There you go.
successful relationship. I got a whole book right here. There we go. On how to stay in love by a divorce lawyer who just saw all the bad things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you really have to do. Their discomfort is based on what they love about you. And if it's beauty, don't go flaunt yourself in front of random people without them. If it's money, don't go tip, give buy random girls drinks. If it's kindness, show that kindness to you in front of other people.
Well, and then my closing thought will be linking that back to where we started, which was mate value. Because
Well,
if you
that's what I
want,
was going with,
Mhm.
because the value is whatever you're interested in. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is once you've gotten in the door to make the sale, opening the door in the first place, you need to, you know, shore up whatever your negatives are, but then you have positives, whatever they are, of you, the individual. Take some time to figure that out and then accentuate them as best you can. And that is going to show that you are someone who is worth the time and effort of a relationship. And that is going to get you that
Everybody
first
is
step.
worth everybody is worth the time and effort of a relationship. You just gotta dig into what you're good at and find the person that likes that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Everybody deserves that. I mean, we're basically, I think it's 51 to 49% male female. It's close enough to be 50-50. God, just find the person for you and work on the things that are your strengths. I mean, it's just yeah. But
and
also,
don't get poisoned by all this nonsense that
don't get
is,
poisoned. Yeah.
yeah, that is literally trying to sell you something, and what they're selling is snake oil. Because I mean, snake oil is a good representation. Is yeah. Every once in a while, you would get that person that the placebo. Oh wow, it did wonders. I feel so much better. Okay, what about the other 90% of the people that they did absolutely nothing except make their pee funny colored?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of how to tie this into if you get into a relationship because that comfort is the main theme of today.
Mhm.
And we also have to be aware of how people, I mean, 40% of people of men and women cheat, right? So we have to be aware of the things that could be the deal breakers for us.
That's a good
And
point. Well, let's tease that for next time because I'd mentioned that we haven't talked Wheel of Time for a while since we've gone to just doing once a week. And I've been wanting to revisit the relationships there in the context of
mhm.
these things we have been talking about.
Yeah,
So
I'll give a good
fictional
example.
examples of what we're talking about because they're
Yeah,
good stories.
yeah, I'll tease with an example, Matt and Melindra,
Hmm.
which is one we actually talked. It's like what 5 pages of the whole 14 book series of 1,000 pages a series a book, and it was one of the most impactful because she loved him, but she was also a dark friend,
Hmm.
right? And she showed that she loved him, but she had signs of the other things, and he was blind to them.
And
She
she
had
was
an
blinded by the snake oil of she loved him, but she couldn't pull
mm,
away from that toxic
mhm.
environment that she had put herself in.
Yeah, and the way it was written, you actually got from the story that it wasn't I'm just manipulating him. It was I
Oh yeah.
started by manipulating him, but I actually fell in love with him.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a good one to start with. Well, yeah, that's a good tease. Yeah. That's
So
actually I'm gonna reread that section in
we'll dive back into Wheel of Time and some good fictional examples because I just feel like they work so much better than even the
he was just such a smart
real
guy.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he was yeah. And yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, so good positive ending to I mean was kind of an all over the place episode, but yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time then.
All right, later.